Welcome back, everyone, to the Deal Room podcast. And today's episode, Hasty and I are going to be talking about being house poor or dream score. We're going to talk about the myths of real estate and mortgage moves that nobody talks about. And I know, Hasty, you definitely have some nightmare stories or some sort of different examples of how people have become house poor by not making the right decisions.
Oh God, yes. I see like we're keeping it up to with the Halloween theme, right? We just keep exactly the campsite scary stories. Remember those when we were kids?
Oh yeah, tell me one of those scary stories. Go get your flashlight and tell the audience about some of these scary house poor stories that you're dealing with.
So this wasn't my original deal. It came to me afterward. I had someone reach out to me through a referral. Someone sent this person to me. And I really felt bad for this person because they bought an house that was just so out of their budget. Which one thing people don't understand is that when your mortgage broker give you a budget, and they say like you can't go over the budget. You have to understand we get commission, which is we get the percentage of the amount of mortgage you get. So there is literally no reason for me to say, don't go over that. Right?
But like, I
Um,
really want to buy that house, so I'm gonna push you because like it's all up
it's
to you how much I could afford.
like you do have to understand more money you borrow, more money I get. Like, why would I want to not give you more money?
But aren't you a magician? Like you're gonna crunch the numbers, and I'm gonna somehow have more of an income, eh?
For sure. If I had those kind of powers, first I would have used it for myself and I would be a billionaire. I'd be the queen of the galaxy, right? But, you know, people think like we purposely tell them like, oh, don't go over that budget, like as if like it has benefit for me. But this person was already bought the house. When I said they were outside of their budget, I mean like so far outside of the budget that you couldn't even see the budget. So obviously, right, rate went up. So you are even outside of your budget. The budget we talk about is according to your monthly income and the debt you already have, right? House poor is different from having your dream home. And they got the dream home, but he came to me and he's like, I need a second mortgage because I need to pay off debt. And so I need to, but nobody else is helping me. I don't know why. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, again, people usually don't say no to money. So it is a reason. So I looked into it. And first of all, this person already had missed payments with the current mortgage. Um, and they didn't pay the property tax. That's not good because that's a lien on your house. So what happens when you don't pay your property tax? The lender will pay it on your behalf, not because they're so in love with you. It's because they want to make sure there's no lien on the house because that's an investment
Yeah,
too. But what happens is that they're going to charge you back with a penalty because they have to pay something
yeah.
all out of their own pocket. So it's already like you can't get a second mortgage on a property that is not up to date with
So the
payments,
tax
right?
man's got to get paid first. Is that what you're saying
I mean,
right now?
and also the first lender, also the
Okay,
first
yeah,
lender. It's like the
that
second
makes
lender's not
sense.
going to come and say, "Oh yeah, I'll give you more money" when you already behind. And obviously, uh, one thing about Canadians is known. This is where real estate market goes well. Is that Canadians, they do anything, make sure that they don't fall behind on mortgage, right? So before
I
they're
know,
falling on the
I
behind
know.
mortgage, they're falling behind on other stuff. Mortgage is usually
That's
last in
it.
the line, right?
That's your house poor, right? That's you're gonna
Yeah,
sacrifice everything else to pay that mortgage. That's how people roll. And that's what the term house poor comes from. Like
house
they
poor.
live poor, but they have a house.
They
No
have a
vacations,
house.
none of the luxuries.
Yeah, you tapping into your credit, but you know what though? You dream living in your dream house. And
Okay, so tell me what happened with this guy. He came into
oh,
you.
I'll let
He's
you know.
got
I did found it.
okay.
I did find a like a solution. Obviously, the solution was like the second mortgage is gonna come pay all this stuff that needs to be paid up to date. Do a 12 months prepayment because this person clearly needs to, gain trust back on paying things on time. And then, but I don't know if anyone's aware, lenders do random interviews with clients to make sure that there's no identity theft, right?
Oh,
So they did.
interesting.
Interesting, right? They did.
Mhm.
Usually, they do it at random. Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't. And so they come and ask you questions that you're only supposed to know. And one of the question was, "Hey, how old are you? Not when is your birthday, not what year you were born. How old are you?"
Okay.
And this person was mid 40, and he
Okay.
said he's 35.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe the person over the phone sounded cute.
Listen, so obviously
Maybe he
the
thought he was on
interview was.
Tinder.
I hope not. I hope not. He had wife and kids. I really hope not. Let's not make the story even scarier than what it is. And so I got a call from a lender saying this is flagged. We cannot proceed. And then I later on found out it's because of this. And so I called the client and I was like, the absolute what the hell? The absolute what the hell? Like, why? Why? He's like, oh, I got nervous. I'm like, how do you get nervous and you forget how old you are? Like a whole decade. Like
Okay.
a year here and there, like
Okay.
I have two birthdays, right? One is almost like a year older than
I
me.
know
So
you
if you
have two
call
birthdays.
me, I can be like, say a year younger because but to say like I'm early 20s when I'm not, that's like
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do. So unfortunately, I wasn't be able to help this person. I'm hoping that's someone
Oh
else. But the
man. So what
problem is
happened
when
to
you
them?
get
Did they lose the
flagged for.
house?
If you don't pay, you have about 6 months. Lenders don't go out of the way trying to take the home back. So they'll do their best. They'll make payment arrangement. They do it. But if there's nothing about you can do, then it goes to the process of getting foreclosure, which is not really good. But that's the definition of houseboat. They were living in their absolute dream home that they couldn't pay. And I personally would
That
like to
sucks.
stay in a small place where I can sleep at night than be at my dream home. Like that is how I.
Yeah, and be able to go on your vacations and have your leisure time and restaurants and that, right? That's the whole thing about houseport. So that comes out to I'll give you one of my stories of horror. So I've personally had not had a client of mine who has been house poor because again we do our due diligence, but I do see a lot of horror stories, and what I see them is I see them on the MLS. So the Toronto Real Estate Board, our realtor.ca here. So when you go on Toronto Real Estate Board and you do a search right now for power of sales, banks, um, just people who've lost their home, basically foreclosures. Right now, there's over 200 properties on the TREP marketplace that I could find you that is some sort of a power of sale, power of attorney, it's getting sold by the CIBC, by Royal Bank, TD Bank, First National, all these different lenders, financial this, financial that. And that is the horror story that I'm seeing right now. Now, growing up, I know that my parents always had a nicer house for us, right? And that stopped them from taking vacations. They provided for us. They were not house poor, they were house and kid poor. So that's my personal experience with people who are house poor. We're gonna go and transition into one of my favorite segments, the pro tip. And my pro tip as a real estate broker is to avoid being house poor. You must make proper decisions when you're purchasing. What do I mean by that? Don't let your emotions dictate your purchase. Like, I understand your dream house might be waterfront, to have 6 bedrooms, a private gym, this and that. but you cannot let that come in place of your budget. So if you can't afford all of that, and you could afford it by sacrificing your leisure and your vacations and your nights out, then you might as well, hold off on it and don't make yourself house poor. Don't let your emotions dictate the purchase price. That's what I'm letting you know. That's my pro tip of the day.
I could not agree with you anymore. But by the way, babe, you just described your dream home. The only thing you left out was the detached 3-door garage. But I
So
couldn't
I'm giving a
let
pro
you.
tip for a reason.
I couldn't agree with you. Let the budget decide. You know what you can get with the budget. Get your foot in the market and work your way up. Right? Getting something outside of your budget and you not be able to live your life is as bad as like being too scared to enter the market. Either one of those is wasting your money and wasting precious time. And you and I have helped, especially in millennial, because it's harder to do that, to transit from getting their foot into the
Oh, yeah.
market with the budget that they have. And then as they saving for down payment, let also the equity growth, right? And that way they can move on to the next and then move on to the next. And then eventually they're like, I had a client that we help with, sweet couple, like, go and get a small, tiny little condo. And I know like condos like, ooh, the equity doesn't grow. But when there is the right strategy and you follow it, there is always a way. And they moved up to the next property. And now they're finally moving into their dream home detached, like with 2 kids. They started when they were just married and we helped them throughout until the second kid, and they're moving into their dream home. Now they could have
Yeah,
either,
that's a perfect example.
right? They
Like
could have either
they
did
went from being
something,
so that's a perfect example because they went from, being this young couple. I remember when they approached us originally and they had certain needs. They're like, oh, we want a detached house, this and that. And then when you looked at their budget, you're like, hey, take it easy there. You're not there yet. And just by being able to not be house poor and giving them that ability, and by you reviewing their budget and telling them like, hey, you have this amount that you could spend on this, you were able to help them and I was able to help them to actually have a life. Like, I feel like the reason those 2 kids exist is because they were not house poor. Like, they weren't
oh, yeah.
bickering with each other. They weren't fighting with each other because of the stress of paying the mortgage and what, unfortunately so many people are doing. And it took some time, but now they're moving into their dream home. I'm super excited for them.
Yeah, and you know what? They started with putting down 20,000, going into a tiny little apartment, and now they're moving. It's possible, right? You just need a strategy, and that's one thing about people. They either want to like get into that last step, which is their dream home, and if they can't, they're like, okay, I'm just gonna wait, and I'm gonna save up until I get enough. I'm like, listen, is your money going to grow as fast as the equity? Is your income is going to grow as equity? And you and I have a seminar where we show to people of a 5-year
Yep.
difference of waiting, how much money you can lose, or 5 years of just getting a home that is exactly not on your perfect list, of how much you can gain and how you can move up. And it's just a strategy, you know?
Nice. Now we're going to move into a new segment of our show. All right, this segment, I'm quite excited about this new segment of our
So
show, and it's called Myth or Money Move. Are you ready? I'm gonna throw out a couple questions. Are you ready, Hasty? You shake it off. You ready?
I'm
All
ready.
right.
I
So,
hope you're ready.
all right, Hasty. Myth or money move? If you don't have 20% down, you shouldn't even think about purchasing.
100% myth. Actually, I have showed strategies with 15% down, how much it can save you money more than you putting 20%
Hmm.
down. 100% myth.
Good
Yeah.
answer.
Okay, now it's my turn, babe. Okay, myth or money move. You can time the market and wait for the market crash in order to buy.
Okay. I'm going to call myth on that. Because if you could predict the future, then you're able to make money buying the lottery. When people are still waiting for the market to crash, sometimes you keep waiting and other things happen. So, like, a lot of my friends are like, oh, look now, house prices are so much cheaper than they were 3 years ago. But then, hey, don't you remember what the interest rates were 3 years ago? Like, it's a myth. There's a lot of factors that affect the market. And if you could purchase today, you purchase today. There's a saying, you buy real estate and wait. You don't wait and then buy real estate. So it's vice
Exactly.
versa. Myth.
Okay.
All right. So that was another wonderful episode. If you have any questions or you have any horror stories of yourself you'd like to share with us, please don't hesitate to DM either myself or Hasty.
We look forward to hear from you. And maybe we can tell our audience stories next time in our podcast.
Yeah. See you next time.